On that breaking arrest of the suspected shooter's father, we just learned about. Let's go to NBC News correspondent Priya Sridhar. She joins us now from Winder, Georgia, where she was at that press conference. Priya, what more do we know about the charges here against the father, Colin Gray?
That's right, Gotti. Pretty explosive developments here tonight. We know that 54-year-old, Colin Gray has been charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. The director of the GBI who delivered this news said that this is because the father knowingly allowed his son to have a weapon, but he wouldn't really elaborate beyond that. We tried to press him for what evidence he had to sort of back up these charges. He also didn't have any details about how the arrest actually played out, how it happened. We do know that he's going to be taken into custody, or he is in custody, I should say, with the Barrow County Sheriff's Department. And there's been a lot of questions tonight, Gotti, about exactly what this father knew. You've been reporting that he was actually interviewed by Jackson County Sheriff's deputies just last year when several anonymous tips were given on an online gaming platform that this 14-year-old suspect could have been planning a school shooting just like the one that he actually executed here at Apalachee High School. So now there's several questions about how this could have happened if the FBI knew about those threats and then sent out those Jackson County deputies to interview both the father and the suspect. We do know, I got an opportunity to sit down with the sheriff of Barrow County today, that this suspect had actually recently moved to this area from Jackson County. So they were not aware that this interview had taken place. They didn't know that he was on the radar of both federal law enforcement and also the Jackson County Sheriff's Department until basically yesterday. So we're going to be learning a lot more in the coming days. The suspect does have his first court appearance, Gotti, tomorrow morning.
And Priya, so many people are watching this and they're hearing that the suspect was on the FBI's radar. They're understandably frustrated that more wasn't done. Any response from the FBI or from the Sheriff's Department that did know about this visit?
We haven't gotten any statements from the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, but according to the Barrow County Sheriff, who I did that one-on-one interview with today, he doesn't believe that anything sort of fell through the cracks. He believes that the system worked as it was supposed to, that the federal authorities did notify the local authorities, and that in this situation, because this happened to be the suspect's second day of school here at Apalachee High School, that they simply were unaware of him. They didn't know anything about his previous history. And, you know, I asked him directly, is there anything that you would have done differently? And he said at this point, not really. You know, I know you guys were just talking about that app that the Sheriff's Department had implemented here at all the schools in this school district. And that was just 10 days ago. And it really allowed the teachers who were inside of the school to click on their badge, a button on their badge, which put the school on a hard lockdown. And the sheriff was able to show me on his phone that he could then see a blueprint of the school and exactly where those teachers were standing when they pressed that button. And he says that that really made a difference in this mass shooting and that it could have been so much worse. They were able to respond, he says, within 6 minutes because they knew exactly where those teachers were located, Gotti.
And so far from the suspect, we understand that he was taken into custody pretty quickly afterwards. Do we know if he's cooperating with investigators and anything about his background other than the fact that he was clearly on the FBI's radar?
Absolutely. We do know that authorities have been conducting interviews with him and with his family members, which could have been what led to this. You know, when the FBI had done their interview through the Jackson County Sheriff's deputies last year, the father had revealed that he does keep hunting rifles inside of his home. But he said that the 14-year-old suspect didn't have unsupervised access to those rifles. So we do know, and I should also add that here in the state of Georgia, there is no minimum age requirement about who can have access to something like a hunting rifle. But the weapon that the authorities are saying the 14-year-old suspect used in this case was an AR-style weapon. And they're not giving us any more information at this point about where exactly that weapon came from. But now, of course, we're learning based on this latest information that they do believe that the father had something to do with this. And by the way, Gotti, we also asked, you know, is there any precedent for these kind of charges against a parent here in the state of Georgia? And the director of the GBI said that that he wasn't aware of any parents being charged for shootings conducted by children. But of course, you probably remember the Crumblies, the mass shooting that happened in Michigan recently, where those parents were also faced with charges because of their son's shooting. So we're seeing a very similar situation play out here in Georgia now.
We should also note that during the press conference we just saw, we got an update about those 9 victims that are expected to make a full recovery, right? What are we hearing about the victims that are still alive, and how are the victims that were lost being remembered today?
Absolutely. Well, I got a chance to speak with one of the family friends of the math teacher and the football coach who was tragically shot and killed yesterday. And she said that he leaves behind a wife and 2 young children, and that his wife is just completely shattered. There were about 6 hours yesterday where they weren't sure. They were getting conflicting information if he had been airlifted or medically evacuated from here in Winder, Georgia, back to Atlanta. But then by the end of the day, they did find out that he tragically had died. But the good news here, Gotti, as the sheriff said in the presser, the remaining 9 gunshot victims are all expected to make a full recovery.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.